What would have happened in the general election if we had proportional representation? This image shows the allocation of seats in the House of Commons if they were determined by vote share. Compare that to this image, which shows the actual results of the election using our current voting system. With proportional representation, Labour might have 236 seats instead of 411, and the Tories might have 157 seats instead of 121. The smaller parties would benefit the most, with Reform UK getting 94 seats instead of 5, and the Green Party getting 42 seats instead of 4. As I mentioned, this is calculated by vote share, which you can see here above me. Some people are complaining that Labour won such a huge majority despite receiving only 34% of the vote. Reform UK leader Nigel Farage, for example, complained that his party won only 5 seats despite receiving 14% of the vote, and Lib Dem leader Ed Davey has reinstated his party's commitment to changing the voting system. This is despite the fact that the Lib Dems managed to do really well in this election by successfully playing the game of the current voting system, which meant convincing voters in key constituencies to vote tactically in order to get the Tories out. And it's this point about tactical voting that raises important questions about the vote share statistics. Have a look at how people voted in Amber Valley, a constituency in Derbyshire. As you can see, it was a close contest between Labour, Reform UK and the Conservatives. There may well have been a significant number of Liberal Democrat and Green supporters who felt they had to vote Labour in order to ensure that Reform or the Conservatives did not win. Likewise, there might have been some Conservative supporters who didn't fancy their party's chances and really didn't want Reform UK to win, so voted Labour for that reason. Now let's look at these results for the constituency of North East Hampshire. It was a close contest between the Lib Dems and the Tories. In this constituency, some Labour supporters likely voted Lib Dem to ensure the Tories wouldn't win, and some Reform UK supporters likely voted Tory to ensure the Lib Dems wouldn't win. What these examples show is that if we did have proportional representation, the vote share might be quite different from the actual vote share in the election, which you can see here. I'm not saying we shouldn't change the voting system. I just want to point out that the vote share statistics might be somewhat misleading, and a lot of people are looking at them and thinking that this is what Parliament would look like if we had proportional representation. In reality, it's very difficult to gauge what a government under proportional representation would actually look like, because the current voting system, which has produced this vote share, encourages people not to vote with their heart, but to vote tactically. It's also worth noting that there are many different kinds of proportional representation voting systems, all of which could yield different results.